So I talked a little bit about during the intro, about this, but talk to me about the Qatar Foundation, who they are, who they have ties to, what their aims are, and all the rest of it.
Look, the Qatar Foundation has had to file under the Foreign Agent Registry Act in the United States. Okay, so it is a fund of money from the royal family in Qatar that it uses to fund all sorts of projects. Qatar has done this for years. A lot of countries do this. The Chinese do it as well. But they like to fund things that are in support of the Muslim Brotherhood. The chair was the Sheikh Qaradawi, who's in Doha, in Qatar. He basically is a big champion of the Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas. And of course, Hamas is a terrorist organization. So what we have is basically for everything around the edges of a certain form of Islamic terrorism. And it's something the United States has to be tracking a lot more. And frankly, this story with there is the bigger story is that it's about the nexus of basically the intersection of money and influence in politics, but also in our education system, given how much they give to our university.
Indeed, because when we also talk about China, for example, Confucius Institutes and all the money and everything they put in there into our universities. Even a lot of professors, you see the headlines of a lot of professors being outed as giving state secrets over to China for money. So we've known this about China, but now I think a lot of people are opening up their eyes to Qatar and just how influential they are when it comes to geopolitics, when it comes to all of this, because we're so used to talking about China and Swalwell even. But now we're looking at Qatar as well. So since Swalwell is a member of the House Intel Committee, and we know everything that happened with Fang in China, and now we're hearing everything meeting with the Qatar Foundation, is this almost a national security concern?
Oh, absolutely it is. Look, it's absolutely bonkers to imagine a Republican sleeping with what turns out to be a Chinese spy, and that congressperson serves on the Intelligence Committee. So on one hand, you look at that, and even if you thought to yourself, oh, that's just an unfortunate mistake, that wasn't on purpose. Well, then you look at this little jaunt with Qatar, and you look at the amount of money that both these countries are putting into our universities, which are essentially poisoning American minds. Now, Secretary Pompeo was smart enough to list the Confucius Institutes from China as actually being foreign run by the Chinese Communist Party, but they still have 47 chapters operating on U.S. campuses. Qatar does the same thing. They are very good at how they work the influence game in Washington. They try to set up business deals inside certain congressional districts that works to their advantage. How they deal with politicians here, how they deal with universities, how they are essentially spending their money in a much wiser way than I would say almost any other country. Most bang for the buck when it comes to playing the influence game. And Eric Swalwell at the Intel Committee is frankly lapping all of it up. And this is just, you see that kind of thing. You see Ilhan Omar on the Foreign Relations Committee as a reward, apparently, posted by Nancy Pelosi, who's an outright anti-Semite who also supports Hamas. It's not a good look.